Hello, everyone. I am Lexi. I am your BookTube host. If you know me, then you know me from Lexi's Book Nook. This is my channel all about books, book club recommendations, whether it's from my hometown or my local town or Reese Witherspoon picks. They are all found here. And for this month, this is in addition to my previous episode, if you haven't seen it already, from the February recap episode. All the books are romance, and I forgot to add this one as well, so this is going to be included as a bonus episode. So one of the books that are added to my list is Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and since you have the lovely opportunity to see my face and the cover in my book nook, here is the cover of the book, Book Lovers, and I am going to fix that up a little bit for you. There you go. So you can see it's a guy and a girl reading books on top of the title, Book Lovers. So I'm going to go over a brief summary and then my thoughts and a couple of discussion questions. I'm not going to keep this super long. But this novel follows Nora, who is a cutthroat literary agent at the top of her game. Her nemesis, Charlie, is an editor with a gift for creating bestsellers. Nora has been through enough breakups to take a break from dating for 10 years. Her sister Libby persuades her to swap her city desk for a month's break to Sunshine Hills, North Carolina. She does this in the hope that Nora might enjoy a holiday romance. Sunshine Falls is a picturesque town, but instead of meeting sexy lumberjacks, handsome doctors, or cute bartenders, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie? Can these nemesis turn to friends and put aside differences to find some common ground? And I think yes, because I think this book was quirky, fun, flirtatious, and just a good book overall. It gives me Ali Hazelwood vibes. If you know any of her books like Love on the Brain and The Love Hypothesis, there's some quirky little quips there and personalities and some humor that makes it different, but I'm not going to compare the two because Emily Henry, I can see her as her own entity. But I listened to this as an audiobook and I went through it fast. I really like the characters, even Stone Cold Nora, who even describes herself as that. The chemistry behind Nora and Charlie is fun, smart, snarky, and flirtatious. And I really like Nora and Libby's sister relationship. It's very touching. Overall, the characters are all likable, although I'm not a fan of enemies to enemies to friends or enemies to lovers trope. I did like this book. So I'm just going to go over a couple of discussion questions. That way you can, maybe you're thinking some questions and you're like, well, Lexi, what about this? Or maybe you have questions of your own and you can always contact me. So oftentimes these characters are stereotyped as workaholics. But there's more than meets the eye with Nora. And we learn that while, yes, she does love the literary world, part of her obsession with work is to make sure she can always provide stability for herself and especially for her younger sister, Libby. Why did Nora feel such intense pressure to protect Libby like this? And if you listen to the book or read it, we learned that their mother died unexpectedly. So this kind of gives Nora the sense that she needs to take care of her younger sister as like the most like older of the siblings and wanting to take care of her as like a normal like sisterly relationship, but amplified because they don't have a mom anymore. So Nora took on that role for herself and she just always put aside all the things that she wanted, all her hopes and dreams to take care of Libby and make sure everything that Libby wanted, she got. So I think that's why. The second question is, let's talk about the first meeting between Nora and Charlie. Now, what is your impression of their romance overall? Do you think they're a good fit? In their first meeting, it was like a rough start because they did not get along and they had like some really snarky comments on social media and then they bumped into each other and their interactions were kind of like stiff and sarcastic and like a little rough around the edges. But as time moved on through that first meeting that turned into a date, it got more and more fun and we started to relax and became more sarcastic than anything, but a little flirtatious as well because they were playing pool and Nora like snarked to Charlie like, oh, are you gonna put your arms around me and show me how to shoot, like something like that. So it started out rough. It started out a little rude and snarky and then sarcastic and then flirty, and I think that's just the nature of their relationship, and I thought it gave you a window of their future relationship. And the last question I want to ask and answer is, Nora eventually realizes it's time to stop serving as Libby's guardian, but be her sister instead. what type of impact does this have on Nora and her direction in life? And Nora took it really hard. She did not know that Libby wanted to move to Sunshine Falls, spoiler alert, and she wanted to take Nora with her. But Nora's home is New York because she always considers that as home and where her family is. But when Libby broke the news to Nora, Nora didn't want to stay in North Carolina. So Libby asked her to be her sister and stop taking care of her because she can take care of herself now. She has a husband, she has a family, and she needs to provide for them. And she didn't want Nora to give up her whole life for her anymore and rather live for herself and do what she wants to do. So it gave Nora this sense of no direction at first and a redirection, and she seemed very lost. But with the help of Libby, and as amazing as she is, she was able to help out the situation a lot. At this point, Nora is kind of dating Charlie, kind of not, but Charlie is also from New York. His family has a bookstore in Sunshine Falls, and he has to take over it for his family. So he wasn't going to go back to New York. However, Libby, being as awesome as she is, took over the store for him so he can go to New York with Nora. And I think that was her redirection in life. I think Nora needed Charlie, and that helped a lot. So it gave the role for Libby to take care of Nora. So it's disorienting for Nora. It gave her a sense of loss and redirection, but it worked out in the end. And I just spoiled the ending, and I don't want to spoil things, but it's a really tightly knit bow at the end of the book for a good love story. And I really hope that you find out more for yourself. I hope you buy your own copy. If you want, go on my website, lexiesbooknook.com. That is spelled Lexies booknook.com. You can buy your own copy on my bookshop. And I will make a commission off of your sales, but it's no extra cost to you. I hope you like this episode. I hope you keep listening. I hope you keep following me on BookTube. I do have a podcast on Spotify, Lexi's Book Nook. If you want to support the podcast, it is also on Patreon for $3 a month, where you can continue to see my face, my book nook, get inspiration for your own, and the book covers. And before you go, I will show you my latest picture because I love it. It says one more chapter. So that is all for today. I hope you enjoy this episode and you keep on listening. Keep on reading.